Hello and welcome back to the channel. I hope it's not too late to talk about the Silent Hill 2 remake because I have a few things to say about it. And I also learned something about myself and how I feel about games in general these days. I am going to go into a few spoilers, so if you don't want to hear those, maybe go play the game and come back here, but if you don't care, that's fine too. So the first thing that I want to clarify and get out of the way right now is that it's a good and faithful remake. I don't think that's really too much of a surprise for anybody if you listen to any other reviews or you saw the Steam reviews. It's good. People like it. I liked it for the most part. I'll get into that. But I think the game recognizes that the classic Silent Hill 2 was a masterpiece, and they'll even have like these little, I guess, memory moments where they'll kind of show you like a screenshot of moments from the old game. It was kind of nice that they sort of recognized scenes in some of the parts of the old game that were nostalgic for a lot of people. It was a nice touch to it. Also, the combat mechanics are better, and I think that for many people, that's a quality of life improvement, that the game was easier to fight monsters, I guess, or at least you weren't fighting the controller to fight monsters. It kind of gave you tools to engage in combat a little bit better, and the boss battles were more interesting and that kind of a thing. So they made some improvements. Now, I say all that, but I didn't really have fun playing it. And that sounds weird to say, that it was a great remake, and it was a good, faithful remake, and I think it did a good job. And part of this was my own fault. I played the combat on hard mode, and I realized something about myself, that I'm not good at video games, and I wasn't enjoying the combat, and I feel like I can say that and also recognize that the combat mechanically is better. But here's the thing. The original Silent Hill 2 had terrible combat. It was not clean, it was not easy. Maybe it was easy, but it was clunky and awkward and not very refined. But the game was a masterpiece anyway, And so an improvement to the combat for the remake is expected, but also it didn't really matter to begin with, in my mind, anyway. Maybe others will disagree with me on that. And so I'm not going to complain that, why did you bother making the combat better? That's not what I'm saying. Of course they were going to do that. I just realized that for me, I should have played the combat on easy mode. I didn't come to Silent Hill 2 for the combat. That's not what I remembered about it. That's not what I liked about it. And it's just not something that I care about. And turning the combat up to hard difficulty, I want to be clear too. I was doing fine. I can play it on hard mode. I mean, I would die here and there, but I could progress through the game just fine. And I had, plenty of ammo and health drinks and stims or whatever they're called. But when I'm peering around every corner like a spaz because I'm looking for those four-legged campers that are just waiting to bop you in the back of the head, and it's just every fight is a struggle, and maybe a lot of you would thrive on that. For me, it kind of distracted me. I wasn't really absorbing the environments, which is what I liked about the original Silent Hill 2 to begin with. For me, playing in hard mode, I was just filled with rage. I don't think that's how I'm supposed to feel playing a Silent Hill game. I think in the original, they weren't that challenging to fight through, at least from what I remember. Just going down a dark hallway or walking around in the fog and just listening just made you feel unsettled. And in this game, in the remake, I never really felt unsettled. And okay, I think that part of this too is I'm getting older, and especially since I've started this channel, I've played a lot more horror games also, and maybe I'm just kind of desensitized to it. And I feel like that I'm not as I don't know. Maybe I'm less interesting as a Let's Player now because I don't really feel that scared playing horror games anymore. If you go back to the first horror game that I played in this channel, I was kind of a baby about it because I just never really played horror games, and I just started playing them, and after playing not even that many of them, honestly. I mean, I haven't played that many, but I played enough that it doesn't. I didn't feel creeped out, and that felt weird playing a Silent Hill game and not feeling creeped out, and more just in just like a hunting mode and like a murder mode. I guess, sometimes I felt like I was playing Call of Duty or something more than I was a horror game. And I think that would have been different if I were playing the combat on light mode the entire time. I think I would have absorbed the ambiance a bit more. And I would have been creeped out more just out of, pondering things. I mentioned in the last video that I made that, horror should make you contemplate things. It makes you think about horrible things that can happen in life, but without the consequences of those things. It makes you think about your mortality. It makes you think about, well, I guess in this instance, James and his guilt of, spoilers, and how the town kind of forces him to deal with that, and all the people in the town with their own traumas and guilt. And it just wasn't something that I was giving much thought to. I wasn't absorbing the notes I was picking up and trying to piece things together that much, because I was just bloodthirsty the whole time. And so I know that about myself now, that I don't really love competitiveness in games. And I know this isn't the same thing, but like those really competitive games like Call of Duty and Halo or whatever, like I don't know why people play those games. They just make you mad, and I don't like to feel that way when I'm playing a game. I want a narrative experience, and if the combat is getting in the way of that, well, then I guess it's just getting in the way. All I have to say, I did turn down the combat level down to light mode by the time I got to the Eddie fight. And I want to be clear, I was going to get through the Eddie fight. I died a couple times, and I knew that if I just kept at it, I would have been able to do it. But I just got fed up with it. And by the time I got to that point in the game, I just wanted it to be over because I was fighting so hard up to that point. And I feel bad saying that. I feel bad saying that I got like 80% of the way through Silent Hill 2 and I just wanted it to be over. I hate saying that because I know it was a good remake. It's a really good remake. I just sabotaged myself by not understanding that about myself, that I didn't care about the combat. I wanted the narrative experience. I wanted to absorb the game, and I feel like I couldn't do that. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, but I realized this too in other things too. Like I used to think that my type of competitive game is tabletop wargaming, but I don't even feel that way anymore about tabletop war. I still want a narrative experience in tabletop games. I don't know. Maybe I'm changing. Maybe I've always been this way. I don't know. But I feel like that I need to now play Silent Hill 2 again, but on a lighter difficulty all the way through, and actually absorb it. I'll play probably the puzzles on hard difficulty, just because that's a different kind of difficulty. You're not like sweating trying to solve puzzles. Anyway, tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you like competitive games? Did you play Silent Hill 2 already? What difficulty, what combination of difficulty did you play it on? And do you think if it was on hard, was it too hard for the combat? Tell me what you think. I would be interested to hear what others have to say about that aspect, and if you're the same as me or if you're different from me. If you want to tell me to get good, that's fair. Anyway, I think I've rambled on enough. This is a bit more unscripted than other videos that I've made recently, so tell me if you like this style a little bit more. I kind of was just winging it a little bit this time, so tell me if you like that, if you want me to kind of go back to doing scripted stuff, or if you'd rather just see more Let's Play videos. Maybe I'll do those in the future. I don't get a lot of traction on those. You've maybe noticed that I haven't done a lot of Let's Plays recently. They don't get a lot of views, compared to the other types of videos that I make. So, but if you're interested in those, I'm still, I still think about it. I still think about doing them. I still like to play indie games, so I might pick those up. So Anyway, tell me what you think, and I'll see you here next time. Bye.